splash photography, while it may be cool, it is also difficult to achieve because you're taking all these separate components and combining them into one image, and then just the components themselves can be difficult to achieve, and then, just combining them all together, it's just not fun sometimes. It really does take a while to get the perfect shot, because with most other genres of photography, you can make these small little micro adjustments in the moment, but with like a splash, or you're pouring something, or something explodes, you can't just freeze time like that, so that's what makes it more difficult, because you have to time and get everything perfect there, because when you press that shutter and the flash strobes go off, you want to make sure you're freezing that motion, and to actually freeze that motion, the sync connection between the your camera and the lights has to be fast enough as well to capture that, and a lot of the lower end lights only can do about a 200th shutter speed, and that's just not fast enough to freeze motion. And what I was shooting at was about 1000 to 2000 shutter speed, so that is very fast sync connection, and the higher sync connection you get, the more expensive your light's going to be. So that as well makes it another challenge, because you don't have these expensive lights that can freeze motion. You're just not going to be able to get your splash shot. And then kind of another thing as well is, say like you have these shots, you're like, oh, this splash in this shot looks good. Oh, but I didn't like the pouring in that one, but the pouring in the other one, that one looked good. And then it's like, oh, that splash, we want to make it more dramatic. So then you just have to end up combining all these images together, and that requires a lot of compositing in Photoshop. So if you don't know how to do that as well, that's not going to be any help and harder, because you just have to do everything in camera. So just kind of just like you have a lot to deal with when you're doing splashes. Alright, so we are in another different studio today. As you can see behind me, it is like 9 in the morning, and I had to get up at 7 if I wanted to make it here on time, so don't worry, I got my coffee right there. But kind of the reason I chose this studio was because, for one, of this extra large tripod here, and then two, because of these right here, these little sawhorses where I can put a surface on, and then I'm just going to shoot through like kind of underneath this glass right there, and the studio is going to be really good for that. You also can't wear shoes while walking on this giant wide platform, so I'm going to have to do this whole thing with just socks. Can't really tell on camera, but these things are like scratched to hell, and there's 2 of them as well. And it's kind of just like picking the lesser of 2 evils at this point, which, when deciding on which to use for a photo that you want to look clean, is not a very good option to have. Shit. I can't get the tripod up here, so I'm gonna have to fucking move everything back here. That's great. Well, at least I could put my shoes back on. So right now we have the glass set up and the camera in a low angle looking up, and gonna be a lot of me laying on the ground. And then we have my lights set up as well. And then we have all the cables like tied around and attached to stuff, so none of the stuff is on the floor. Because when you're working with kind of splash and liquids, you do not want to get anything on a cable unless you want to, be electrocuted and die. But this is kind of the angle we have now, and we're just kind of getting everything into position and kind of just dial everything in before we actually start using the spill. we're gonna fill this up with water because water looks just like vodka. And obviously I'm not gonna waste good vodka, you know, so we're gonna fill this up. And then add the light up ice cubes that I got off of Amazon. It only took 2 days to get here as well, which was nice. And we gotta make sure that you can't see the little white backs on them. So, drop these in there. Didn't really sink. I was hoping it would sink more. This one's not lighting up. I remember, no, you're not lighting up. How dare you not light up? That one's gonna, okay, there we go. So we got 3 in there right now. And then we're gonna use probably this light as a gel. And then we're gonna point that on the glass. Alright, so we're just about ready to start dropping some ice cubes into the water. Unfortunately, the flashing of the light cubes is too fast, so the camera can't pick it up, which does suck, so I'll just have to do that later in post. But we got my main light here is a strip box, and then that's just giving a nice highlight to the glass. And then we got a blue gel to kind of give it a blue tinted look to the whole image itself. And then we got a third light over there with a 10-inch degree, which is just kind of filling in the rest of the light on this side here. This one has a grid as well. Might take it off or might lower or darken it depending on what we want, but for right now, this is the setup we got. And then the camera again is under there pointing up at the glass. Oh, that one just missed. Alright, now we're getting some splash now that I filled up the water more. Just gotta keep working on my timing now. I keep missing too. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. That was actually not bad that I missed though. I really missed, but that one turned out pretty good. Oh my god. I need to stop missing here. That's a good one. So the next shot is all set up. It's basically the same as the last one, except this time we're using a pink gel, and then we're going to be pouring this bottle of vodka, but it's actually just water, into the cup. And there's also just wires everywhere dangling around because they can't be on the floor because of, something spills on them. But I feel like in those like movies where you see like the laser tripwires and you don't have to hit them, that's what like I've been basically doing this whole time. That was close. Oh my god. Whew. Almost had a heart attack. Oh my god. Alright, no wires are on the ground. Time to start pouring this. Alright, everything is working. Let's go. Alright, this is now empty and it's leaking all over the back here, so we're gonna dry this up and fill up the bottle and go again. Alright, take 2 of this. Alright, that's still working. Let's check my focus real quick. Yep. Alright, so we're good here. Gonna start pouring in and hopefully we can get one of these. So I don't have to keep doing this for a while and wasting water, and because there's a big spill of stuff behind me right now, so here we go. Alright, the water has now reached up to me now. So, gonna have to do a lot of drying. So this is gonna be the last attempt of this one because, I don't want to keep, wasting water, and it keeps, making a huge mess behind it. So we're just gonna hopefully try and get this one, and then we'll be done. Alright, so I lied. This is definitely going to be the last time trying this. I'm trying to get it in camera, but if not, I do have shots of the surface without water on it that I want. And I have, the glass as well. I have this bottle of vodka as well. I kind of just, need this spill into it. And that way, I can just combine all the images together. But like I said, I'm just going to try and get it, in camera. And if not, I'll resort to compositing it. Alright, so that's that. A lot of water to clean up and, lights to put away while not getting electrocuted and dying. But other than that, we basically got everything in studio. Now it's just, jumping over into Photoshop. So the first shot I did was me dropping the ice cubes with the blue gel, and I ended up combining these 2 images together to get this result. So I cleaned up the glass quite a bit because there were a lot of scratches and marks on it because a lot of people before me previously used it. And then also I just added more of the background because the seamless I was using wasn't big enough, and then I kept pushing it back away from my subject because light kept spilling onto it, and I just wanted a plain black look from the background as well. And then kind of also how I previously mentioned, these little ice cubes, I was not able to pick up the flash on them because these little fuckers flash so fast. The shutter speed and the highest I went to was just not able to pick it up. I don't know if any power pack would be able to pick these things up. It was definitely unfortunate because that was kind of the whole point of the first image, was for them to light up. But alas, the people who make them do not think the way that I do, and they decided, let's make them flash instead of a solid color, which is what I would have wanted. But it is what it is. I did kind of mention that I would add the lights in Photoshop later, but then kind of going through, this was my least favorite out of the 2, and just the other image was so much stronger than this one that I didn't really want to spend the time to add the lights. So that was kind of that. But this is not to say at all that, I won't go back later and add the lights. It's just at the moment, this image, I did not want to add the lights to it. Then the second shot was me pouring the vodka bottle with the pink gel, and I ended up combining these 4 images together to get this result. So the reason I combined the 4 images together, because it just would have taken forever if I had to get everything that I wanted in one shot. Like some of them, I didn't like the bottle placement. There was reflection on the bottle that was too distracting. Or some of them, the pouring the liquid from the bottle is either going too fast or too slow. I didn't like that. And then I also just wanted, a big enough splash. So I ended up combining 2 splashes together as well. And like I mentioned, if I did all that in person, in camera, it would have taken a lot longer than it actually did. And kind of for me, because I'm, good at Photoshop, I know how to do composites, it just made a ton more sense to do all of it in the editing side than in the in-camera side. And then in this photo, I didn't really add the lights to the ice cubes either, because you can't even really see them with all the water splashing around, so that was a kind of a nice thing as well. The most important part about splash photography are the lights, so when you do end up buying some, you do want to take that into account if you are going to be doing it, because a lot of the lower end lights, while they still, are expensive, the connection between the camera and the flashes just won't be fast enough to go 1,000 or 2,000 shutter speed. So, while the higher end lights are going to be more expensive, if you are interested in splash photography, you definitely want to spend that extra money. So I had a great time trying out splash photography. It was definitely interesting just figuring everything out and how I was going to get everything I wanted in the shot. But I am also, at the same time, used to shooting concerts, and I kind of have that mentality of you either get the shot or you miss it. So with splashes, it's not as scary because, you do get more chances than you would shooting concerts, but it was still kind of that same thinking, like you want to make sure you get it when you get it. But that being said, I still did have a lot of fun, and hopefully in the future, I definitely can experiment and just do a lot of crazy things with splashes.